let's start out and talk about droughts, because when you hear the word drought, you think the New York Jets. It's a 13-year playoff drought, Tristan. That's the longest across the top 4 major sports in North America. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy?
They haven't won a Super Bowl since 1969.
Namath.
Whew, what a team. What a team. We know the big headline, right? We know that Aaron Rodgers is back. 9.5. 9.5 is what they're at right now. That's the opening line. At least I think that's what they opened with.
That's
9.5.
correct.
I don't think it's changed like my Bills did. But what when you look at this, by the way, kind of funny that the Sunday night football opener again is anyway.
Right.
Well, let's just not hope it repeats. But I'm just saying 50% chance that it happens again.
The NFL literally scheduled the Jets on like 6 primetime games again because they're like, we're trying again.
Yeah, let's just double down.
How
we
about
have a 50%
learn your lesson?
chance. Right. Well, let's talk about learning our lesson. 9.5. I think last year you had them going over. I know I did.
I'm not sure exactly, but I think last year, I didn't think they'd be great. I thought they would make the playoffs last year, though. I did. I thought they would squeak into a wild card.
I'm pretty sure I had them going over, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but let's talk about this year. 9.5. Where do you have them?
I think the Jets at 9.5. Usually Vegas has things pretty close. I kind of think this is preposterous. I think this is absolutely insane. I think Vegas is doing what the NFL did. I think they got spanked in front of everybody, and they're pulling up their pants, and they're saying, let's do it again. The Jets are going under. Okay, absolutely, 100% hammer the under. Absolutely hammer it. Because first off, let's just take a look at how bad this Jets team was last year. Here's a graphic. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers got hurt after 4 snaps. Ryan, the offense, 29th in points per game. 32nd, that's last, by the way, in yards per game. Pass yards, 30th. Rush yards, 23rd. You go to the other side, the defense was a little bit better, 12th in points per game, 3rd in yards per game allowed, 2nd in pass yards. They were good at shutting down the pass, not so good at the run, 25th. They finished 7-10 and missed the playoffs. So I know what you're saying. I already know your argument. Your argument's going to be, but Tristan, they went 7-10 last year with Zach Wilson. How can Aaron Rodgers not add 3 wins? And that is because he's 40 years old coming off an Achilles injury. Is there a chance the Jets win 10 games? Yes, there is a chance. There's a possibility, but I do not find it likely. I'm not certain Aaron Rodgers is going to play 17 games. Matter of fact, I'm certain he's not going to play 17 games. And it's not like he was coming off an MVP season and injured his Achilles. He was coming off one of the worst seasons of his career. It was looking like the decline. He had a win or get in game against Detroit and lost. Then he gets injured 4 snaps into last year when all of the hype was around him, and it just kind of collapsed. So now you're telling me a 40-year-old's going to come back off an Achilles with a kind of shoddy offensive line and win 10 games in the AFC? I think that is genuine crazy talk. I think people are hoping Aaron Rodgers comes out there and looks like he did 4 years ago, and I just don't expect that to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if it does, but I can't expect it.
Is it my turn?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, you're insane, and I'll tell you why. The Jets are going over, and look,
you're doing it.
No, well, look, I am, because listen, I'm not about to hype them up, okay? I just want you to know that I'm not going to hype the Jets up.
You know, 10 wins is a lot.
10 wins is a lot. However, a lot of this, and I'll go ahead and say this is, obviously you have to say this. It's predicated on a lot of old guys not getting hurt.
Exactly.
Because you also got Mr. Mike Williams coming in, and if you've known Mike Williams, if you've had him in fantasy ever, it's been rare a season where he's played all the way through all 16, 17, 18 games.
It won't happen.
Rarely happens, right? So we already know that Mike Williams is going to have a couple games where he's not playing. However, the right side of that column that you just pulled up, there was a lot of good numbers there. This defense can carry the team a long way. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to play to the Aaron Rodgers of 2020 or 2021. Aaron Rodgers, all he has to do is play 60 to 70%, and that's all he needs. A 60 to 70% Aaron Rodgers is still 2 times better than a Zach Wilson or whoever else that the Jets ran at quarterback last year. You got to remember that they played tight games. They beat the Bills the night that Aaron Rodgers went down in overtime. Like, it was a rough season last year for the Jets. There's no doubt about it. What you got to know, though, is Aaron Rodgers is coming back this year, and I think he's got at least one more good season left in him, and I think that he's going to make a difference. When you look at this schedule, the first opener is rough. It's, San Francisco. That probably won't win that. I get that, okay? But they're going to go on a winning streak after that because they have Tennessee, New England, Denver, Minnesota, and then Buffalo. Buffalo is... it's going to be a toss-up. This schedule, when you look at it, it's a very winnable schedule on any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. There's not a whole lot of scary games in this schedule right here. So I am going to take the over because I think they can pull out 10 wins as long as Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. And I know when you predicate a prediction on somebody being healthy, you have to assume they're healthy, right? We cannot say that Aaron Rodgers likely won't make it through the season.
But assuming he's healthy after an Achilles at his age is a big assumption. Like, that's way more of an assumption than saying, but I think the Bills are going to be good. Obviously assuming Josh Allen's healthy.
All I need is 60 to 7%, though. I don't need him to play 100%.
But you still need him to play every game.
But you also got to think Breece Hall's back, too.
Breece Hall was there a lot of last year, though, and they still weren't able to run the ball because the offensive line is so bad. And here's the problem for me. Even if Aaron Rodgers is back and healthy and good, how do I trust this offensive line to hold up? They added Tyron Smith. Well, he's literally hurt every single game of his career. He hardly ever plays. They drafted Fashanu from Penn State. That's great. He's a rookie, but they're depending on a lot of guys on this offensive line to stay healthy. Guys that in the past have not stayed healthy. So I think we're in the same boat as last year. They've tried to address the offensive line, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Even if Aaron Rodgers hadn't gotten hurt in week 1 last year, he wouldn't have made it all season the way that line was playing. No quarterback could have survived that. And I'm just not sure they've been able to address the underlying issue.
Yeah, but you're saying that the Jets went into this offseason and said, hey, we're just not going to do anything about the offensive line?
No, I think they did what they could, but they added a bunch of guys who are prone to injuries.
But not only did they add, but they worked on this this is like topic number 1 in off-season workouts is fix this O-line. For the love of God, fix this O-line, especially since Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I think once Aaron Rodgers went down, man, I know that a lot of people may not completely support this idea, but when you take that breath out of the team, it's hard to re-catch that breath and fill your lungs back up again. So I think a lot of these players aren't playing 100% anyway because they're like, oh, crap, well, Aaron Rodgers is down. This is literally the entire world was talking about Aaron Rodgers switching over to the Jets and making the Jets a freaking Super Bowl team. He even said it. He said, I'm going to be the guy that makes the Jets a Super Bowl winning team since 1969. He said those words. So I would lean to the idea that he still means it and he's going to try his best to get him there.
But now, even if that's the case, he can only do so much. It's such a team sport. You've got a left tackle and a right guard who are unable to stay healthy. The odds that either of those guys play 17 games is astronomical. So even if only one of them got hurt and you're plugging in Fashanu, assuming you weren't plugging him in somewhere else, like it's such a hodgepodge of guys that you're going to have to try to survive the season with. I don't think they've got the pieces to protect him.
I'm almost just going to accept that and move on that you're right. But the one thing that we aren't really talking about much is this defense. The defense was, it was really good last year, and it hopefully has only gotten better. Defenses, they haven't really changed anything on defense as far as like players leaving or anything. They still have Sauce. They still have all their top guys. So look at the quarterbacks they have to play through this year. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that can match this defense and go toe-to-toe with them.
Okay.
There's some.
I agree. I agree that the defense is good. I mean, we talked about it. They were 12th in pass points per game. They were second best in pass yards, third best in yards per game. They just struggled a little bit in run defense. But here's the thing.
And that's while they're on the field constantly.
Correct. Okay, so that's true. They were good last year, and they were also good in 2022. But I think, I'm not saying they won't be good. I think it might be a little bit of a stretch to say they're going to be that good again because the Jets defense has kind of carried this team for 2 years in a row. Like, can we trust that defense is going to come back and be just as good Maybe, but I'm not even 100% sure that's going to happen. I mean, I know on paper it looks like they will, but it's a lot to ask for people to come out and deliver yet again. So just say the defense takes a mild step back, not even a big one, just like a minor step back. That could drastically affect the outcome of this team. That could drastically affect the number of games they win. So I'm actually surprised you're sold. I'm rooting for him. I love Aaron Rodgers. I really would love to see him play good again. But the injury, the age, the history, and last point, just the overall dysfunction for the Jets. Nathaniel Hackett staying as offensive coordinator when they literally tried to get rid of him but couldn't because Aaron Rodgers didn't want him to because they like throwing darts together. Like, it's just a team that doesn't really have a leader. I think Robert Saleh is probably out after this year. All I get from the Jets are dysfunctional vibes, and dysfunctional teams usually don't win 10 games. Unless Aaron Rodgers comes in there like Superman and puts this team on his shoulders and carries them, it's not happening. Maybe you think that's what's going to happen. I don't.
I don't know about Superman, but I think he could be a good, second. Maybe he could be a Robin. If he could be a Robin, then I think we're good. Like I said, 60 to 70% with a top-tier defense. That's all you need to equal success. I think the Jets go over. This is probably our biggest disagreement in the AFC East, I would imagine, I hope.